Salutations and welcome. Welcome, motherfucking welcome. Today, we are going to be jumping through some simple mathematics and some logic. One might call it philosophy. They might. I don't know. I get called that often. It's very interesting. And usually I don't like it, but I realize that they're not per se putting the label on me. I just happen to fit the definition of such a thing. Fun. So, where do we start? Where does one start? Logically, one starts with nothing. Obviously. And not nothing like the number zero or the word nothing, because those are things. I just said them. Very interesting. But yeah, see, like that is where it starts. And now that even starting with nothing makes something. Nothing is now something. Blank just turned to a zero. Or rather, like silence just uttered the first sound. Now, what would one call such a nothing and a subsequent something? Luckily for us, we have several names. The most logical name, at least in English, the most logical name is source, because that would be like it's definitionally a source, the source, capital THE, capital source. Very interesting. But one could also call it God, the universe, spirit, etc. So God, we're gonna. That's the shortest word, and it's the most fun word to say. So I'm just gonna use that one. So God equals nothing. That's where we start, right there. But obviously, I've literally just named at least three things, like God equal nothing. Very interesting. So now, something. And that nothing and that something is now the first thing, the second thing, and the third for every subsequent thing, including the 868th thing, including the me thing, and the you thing, and the air thing, all things, literally all things. So God equals all things. If A equals B, and B equals C, and C equals the whole alphabet, one can just say A. Yes. So, in a very logical sense, God is me. In the way that equal signs work, I am God. Now, again, A equals the whole alphabet here, and beyond, like if you had an alphabet big enough. But, so you are God. God is you. The air is God. These words are God. All things, whatever things are, we'll get to that one. All things are God. Cool. Now that's just a little logical thing that we just came to right there. It just exists for the point of existing. Now, God is differentiated by moments. Because again, it's all God, but like it's God at a different moment. I guess another word for moment on a 3D visual sense. So God is, I mean, moments are atoms. Well, yes, God is also atoms. Very interesting. So moment equals atoms, and atoms, they have their constituents. We don't got to go to that. So you go to the things that are bigger than atoms. Atoms equal elements, equal compounds, equal molecules equal, now let's get into the biology realm, they equal cells, tissues, organs, organ systems, organisms, mechanisms. Very interesting. It's no matter how you slice it logically, it's all the same. It's literally all the same thing. It's just depending on whatever you want to call that same thing. It's all the same thing. And that same thing is you. Very interesting. So, from this very objective view, nothing is personal. Which is, it almost sounds like a duh. Like, obviously, objective, nothing is of course. Of course. And yet, we find ourselves so deep in this game with personality and context to where things can be personal. Like a situation can happen, and depending on where it happens, who does it, or what does it, or even like what point in your life you are, you will react to it differently. You will have specific emotions about it. All of those are the results of opinions, of perspectives. You can make it personal. That's so interesting. However, like someone sticking their finger in your drink, if you like this person, LOLOL. If you guys have done this before, it's even more LOLOL because you have context on the thing. Like, this is a funny thing that we do. You're a cool person. Yeah. And now if someone you doesn't like just comes in and puts their finger, or you don't know, and they come in and put their finger in your drink, you might be upset at this point. The same thing has happened. The same constituents have come in and done a thing, and yet you feel different about it, all because it's personal. If we just strip away the context and the personality, you literally have God yelling at God like, look here, God, I swear to God, if you touch my fucking atoms, I will destroy all of your atoms. And then like the God being threatened is just like, man, dude, like they're just atoms. But in that same moment, they're like, yo, damn, but they threatening my atoms. My atoms are just atoms. But I've been working on these atoms for a minute. Hey, don't fucking touch my atoms. And now y'all just, yeah, you to touch my fucking atoms. Or you fucking touch. It's hilarious. Absolutely mind-boggling hilarious. Almost an impossibility, but obviously not because it happens. It literally happens. Again, just more logical statements, logical conclusions. It has always only been one thing or nothing. Somehow something. Still the same thing. Yet different, but not really. Just differentiated moment to moment. Now, one might be considering or wondering what even is the point in such a musing. I have been told for basically all of my life, whatever that is, and however long that is, that I think a lot. Some people say too much. I wouldn't say too much. And then you speak the words, and then they're like, that's complicated. But it's really not. And once the musing is done, everything becomes much, much, much more simple. And like, I've barely even scratched the surface. So I mean, I can understand like how it could be seen as complex, but everything is complex until you understand it. Then it's just remarkably simple. Remarkably simple. And that's the point. The point of conveying such a thing is to show the start. I mean, obviously, this isn't like, damn, what is that word? It's not like a definitive, complete synopsis of everything that's going on here. That would take a book, which I'm totally gonna write. I think I'm gonna call it Am is B, or B is Am. Interesting. B Am is. All of those. Fucking hilarious. Anyway, we go back to that earlier statement I said. God is me, I am God. Now, where we are in this game at this point, that to many would seem like the most egoistic thing that one could say. Which is just hilarious because the more I've known a thing, but the more I understand a thing, the more my ego disappears. Like, I'm just so humbled and flabbergasted that I can even exist in any form, in literally any form, let alone understand anything that's going on. And then, like, basically prove that I understand it by, like, using that understanding to replicate and then create things. Just, it's all so beautiful. Hopefully, this wasn't too, just wordy and not enough visual, because there are no visuals here. I may take a picture of like the little bitty scratch paper that I did, but that won't be enough. But I'm getting there. I promise. If you have listened through the whole thing, I appreciate you. You are perfect, infinite, divine, powerful. An impossibility, whatever that means. And I love you. I love you. You keep on existing. You keep on evolving. You keep on creating. I love you.